Gather around the campfire, boys and girls. What are we doing today? Well, hit number one, hit number two. That's right. We're do. I feel like timelines are an infinite gold mine of content for me because everything that I like has a timeline, and at some point that timeline gets a little silly. So like, no matter what, I can do it. I can just talk about the timeline. I hate that I always have one tuft of hair sticking out of the left side of my head, but not the right side. But today, as you can probably tell from the title and the thumbnail, we're not just going to be talking. Well, I kind of feel like I need it now. We're going to be talking not only about Dragon Ball Super, but particularly Goku Black. Now, this video isn't to say that Goku Black isn't cool or whatever, because honestly, I'm going to tell you, I think Goku Black is the only good villain to come out of something new based on the Dragon Ball mythos in 10 years. I'm not going to count Dragon Ball Super Broly because, okay, the movie was good. I won't say that the movie was bad, but you have original movie 10 through 12 Broly, whose entire motive was Kakarot. And then you have this movie where Broly's entire motive is Vegeta. So it's not really that groundbreaking. The writing of the rest of the movie is what carries it. But I mean, Beerus doesn't count as a villain. He's an antagonist. Frieza's Frieza. He's not new. Mira isn't really that interesting. Sorry to say. Cumber or whatever else is going on Dragon Ball Heroes. Not really into it. For damn sure, it's not fucking Jiren. No, Jiren's so bad. I like Goku Black, but his timeline doesn't make any sense. Okay, so let's get into it. You know what? Actually, I feel like first I should spend a little bit of time elaborating on how time travel appears to work in Dragon Ball. We've only ever seen Dragon Ball when it's related to Bulma's time machine that Trunks uses. If we don't talk about Dragon Ball Xenoverse, which I don't really want to, then that's how it functions. That and the time rings that the Supreme Kais wear, which didn't exist in the Buu saga, but exist now because of course they do. Why wouldn't they? It seems to be like if you go back in time and change something, it's kind of like Avengers Endgame where it creates a branch timeline and it doesn't affect your own timeline. Like Trunks came back and gave Goku the heart antidote so that he could survive and help defeat the androids in his time. But when he went home, he still had to fight androids 17, 18, and Cell 3 years later. Which I don't really know why he had to wait. He could have just gone. Well, I guess he couldn't have just gone to the future and killed Cell because it wouldn't have changed anything about his own timeline. That's rough. I also kind of want to talk about how Trunks is like, oh, I'll come back in 3 years. Did he actually wait 3 years in his own time, or did he just go home and then go back to 3 years from that day? Because I feel like that's kind of smarter. Unless he wanted to train in those 3 years, but I imagine that the training grounds aren't. All right, that's enough. So we have an understanding of how time travel works, right? And then with the time rings that the Kais wear, they can go back in time only, and they can go no further into the future than the date and time that they left from in the first place. That's how time travel works by two methods. So you have the X Games outside my house. Okay, so you have a timeline here. Oh gosh. You know what? Fine. And then we'll do a second line. That one's much better. We'll say that this is, I don't know, after Trunks gets home from defeating Cell, and this is the time that merged Zamasu is defeated. Sure. And then we'll say that this still represents when merged Zamasu is defeated, but this represents when the invincible Zamasu is brought into the equation. So, uh, somewhere along the line about here, uh, oh, I guess we need a third timeline, huh? This is where Goku fights Zamasu. Well, Goku fights Goku Black. All right. So somewhere along the timeline here, right, Goku Black becomes dictator of the Earth or whatever, and then it's at this point that Trunks goes back to this time to warn them, I guess. And Goku fights Goku Black here, and then Beerus and Whis are like, well, that reminds us of an energy and a personality that we found in Zamasu, who's the Supreme Kai of Universe 10. Now, it's important to remember that he's in Universe 10, because the main Dragon Ball story that we've been watching since the 1980s has been in Universe 7. So this is the Universe 7 timeline. This is the Universe 10 timeline, I suppose. So they go to Universe 10 to meet Zamasu, and Goku's like, well, if he's that strong, I want to fight him. So they fight at about this time, right? Goku wins the sparring match, and Zamasu just goes off the deep end because he already doesn't like the idea that mortals are left to their own devices because they're kind of savage creatures and can't seem to function on their own. Now he comes to find out that mortals are hanging out with gods, and that mortals have obtained god power somehow, and that's unacceptable to him. He makes a wish with these Super Dragon Balls upon finding that they exist. So at some point in the timeline, we'll say there, he finds out that the Super Dragon Balls exist. And then he uses them to wish for Goku's body. So somewhere in the future, he goes to get the Super Dragon Balls, summons Super Shenron, and wishes for Goku's body. Now that's very important, because we don't know when in the timeline that is. It could be after the Tournament of Power, because the Tournament of Power happens regardless of this whole Zamasu thing. Or maybe not, because I think it was the fact that there were two Zenos that they came up with this thing. So there's a chance that the Tournament of Power might not have happened without the whole situation with Zamasu. So I'll leave that up in the air. I can't really speak to whether or not that would have happened. But if it did still happen, and this is after the Tournament of Power, then Zamasu is stealing a Goku body that has Ultra Instinct. And it's not just to say that like he can just activate Ultra Instinct whenever he wants, but he's at a power level where Ultra Instinct is an option. So if he were to ever get desperate, he could just duh, 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 but whatever. And then he goes to timeline 3, and he meets the old Zamasu, and he kills that. Well, he meets the other Zamasu, and he kills that Gowasu, and they team up to go to this timeline and rule Earth. Now, here's the thing about all of that. It is made very clear that Goku Black already existed. But Goku Black can't exist until Goku Black comes from the future to face our Goku, which prompts them to go to Universe 10 so that Goku can fight that Zamasu. And after fighting that Zamasu, he decides to take Goku's body. So where did the first Goku Black come from? Like this cycle had to start at some point. It's the same with like Savitar in season 3 of The Flash. Which Barrier was the first Savitar? Which Goku was the first Zamasu? Like, where in the timeline? These dogs outside are going absolutely insane right now, and I don't really know why. Oh, it's because the mailman's here. But which Goku fought Zamasu first? And I know that sounds stupid, but like I said, there has to be a certain point where these events take place for the first time in order to create the time loop that you have to have in order for Goku to eventually fall victim to Zamasu's body switch wish. Like, that didn't just happen spontaneously. But beyond that, Goku Black, I think maybe he uses a time ring to go back to a different timeline and get that Zamasu, and that Zamasu wishes for invulnerability, invincibility, whatever you want to call it. And then they go to then they go to Trunks' timeline, and they rule the world. So, I'm sorry. They rule the world in a time they don't belong to, and in a universe they don't belong to. Like, I get that Zamasu's already gotten the satisfaction of defeating Goku, because when he switched bodies with him, he then killed him in Zamasu's own body. But you can't, like, savor the feeling because you're ruling over a bunch of people that really don't matter to you. Like, they've done nothing to you. You already got yours against Goku, so I don't understand what the point is. But then, okay. I don't really want to get too far into, like, how he's defeated, because I think it's stupid. But, upon determining that Zamasu will eventually become Goku Black, they don't exactly know how, but their theory isn't too far off from what actually happens. I actually don't even remember how he found out about the Super Dragon Balls. Well, yes, I do. Never mind. But upon finding out that this is what he's going to do, and getting proof that that's what he's going to do, Beerus kills Zamasu. Now, we know that the life of a destroyer god in a certain universe is directly linked to the Supreme Kai of that universe. So it's a damn good thing that Zamasu was still a Kai in training, because if Gowasu had died, well, okay, if Gowasu had passed down the responsibilities of Supreme Kai to Zamasu, then when Beerus uses his Hakai, then whatever destroyer god of that universe would have also died. Now, what's interesting to pay attention to is after the defeat of Goku Black and Zamasu, when they merged Zamasu, and that Zamasu ceases to exist because Omni King wipes out the entire universe. Even if he hadn't wiped out the whole universe, even if he'd only wiped out the planet, then two versions of the same god of destruction would have died. Because two Supreme Kais would have died. And if Zamasu had succeeded in his plan to poison and kill Gowasu, the Destroyer God would have died. I'm saying the Destroyer God because I actually don't remember which Destroyer God goes to the Universe 10. Somebody will probably tell me in the comments. But another thing that's important to remember is after Beerus uses Hakai on Zamasu, Goku Black in the future doesn't go away. And this supersedes the rule of how time travel functions in Dragon Ball, because the Hakai move is absolute. It removes him not only from existence at this point, but it makes it to where Zamasu has never existed. But not really, because Goku Black was wearing a time ring still. I really don't know why he was still wearing the time ring. He never made it clear that his intention was to go back in time to do anything. The only reason he went back in time to fight Goku was because there was an energy rift that was left open from when Trunks first went back in time. So I really don't know why he was wearing the ring. I also don't know why he was wearing a Patara. There's actually no advantage to Zamasu and Goku Black both wearing a Patara. I know it's like the mark of a Kai. Kais wear a Patara. But they didn't plan on fusing. They both had full understandings of what the Patara earrings did. So why not either just both wear a full set, or one of them wear a full set, or neither of them wear any? There's no point in them both wearing one of their left ear. It doesn't add anything. It just lets you know that at some point, Goku Black's going to put his on his right, and they're going to fuse. That's all that really tells you. I also want to take a brief moment to talk about Super Saiyan Rose. As we understand, Super Saiyan Rose is what happens when a Saiyan that was naturally infused with God Ki obtains the Super Saiyan God form. So, Goku and Vegeta both worked towards their God Ki. Well, Goku was gifted God Ki in a ceremony, which doesn't really make any sense because it's still just mortal energy from 5 different Saiyans, but whatever. He was gifted God Ki in that moment. Vegeta trained for his God Ki. Zamasu was a Supreme Kai in training. So he already had the God Ki within him because Kais are gods, but for some reason Goku can sense them before the whatever. So when he obtains Super Saiyan God, he reaches Super Saiyan Rose, which I don't know if it's outright stronger than Super Saiyan Blue. It's pretty much the same form, but I can't speak to what's better than the other. So let's say Gohan, for example, since he was a Supreme Kai in training for a little while before he fought Boo. Let's say Gohan achieved Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. Would he go Super Saiyan Rose? I don't know. I think he might. I think that's worth discussing. I think it would be cool to see. But yeah, basically the entire timeline of Goku Black doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because A, how did it get started? B, why are you ruling the world in a universe that you don't belong to? C, it's very irresponsible of you to put the lives of 3 versions of the same God of destruction at risk. And I guess I have to assume that, like, he killed Kibito and Elder Kai in Universe 7 to keep them from interfering in his plan. So Beerus is probably dead too. So that's 2 destruction gods that are dead because of Zamasu. And it's just kind of silly to me. You know what else is silly to me? Super Saiyan Rage. But that's okay. We don't have to talk about Super Saiyan Rage because, like I said, I'm not putting the entire arc of Goku Black up on the slab today. Just the timeline by which he was created. Which itself doesn't make any sense. But that's okay. It's fine. Do you like Goku Black? Do you like Dragon Ball Super? Do you like timelines? Whatever you like, leave a like, and I'll like you.